the session out. I would request the people, those who have connected here, to please turn on their videos so that we can have an interactive session. मुझे पता है कुछ लोगों को पर्दे के पीछे छुपने में बड़ा मजा आता है, right? But फटाफट request all of you, right? जो connected हैं, it would be great if you're serious. Like automatically turning on the videos make you more serious towards the session, which itself showcase that कि हाँ आप serious हो session के लिए. A lot of people have been also connecting from YouTube as well. Really happy to see people joining in. But before we start the session out, just wanted to have a check that is my audio video clear? Is my audio video clear? If it is clear, just write clear in the chat box. Zoom की जनता बता दो audio video clear है कि नहीं, right? Zoom की जनता जहाँ छुप के बैठी है, right? I request them please बता दो ना. अच्छा, जो YouTube पे connected हैं बता दो भाई, बता दो. Is my audio video clear? Is my audio video clear? Great. Lot of people have been joining in from YouTube. अच्छा, कोई कह रहा है मैं Zoom पे connected हूँ और मैं YouTube पे जाके लाइक भी करूंगा और बताऊंगा भी. क्या बात है? क्या बात है? फटाफट बता दो यार YouTube की जनता. आदर्श जी ने बता दिया है. आदर्श जी ने बता दिया. थैंक्स आदर्श जी. राइट, कौन है और फटाफट एक बार बता दो. ग्रेट. आई थिंक द ऑडियो वीडियो इज क्लियर एंड right, one of the most viewed session in my past history. तो मैं just अपना YouTube scroll कर रहा था few days back and I saw that कि the highest number of view which was there was on a statutory audit domain session, right? And I thought कि यार चलो यार फिर से session लेते हैं because that is something which a lot of people are asking for, and this is an area where a lot of people, a lot of students wants to start your career with, right? And in fact I also started my journey with a stat audit domain in one of the big four, right? And luckily I have today's mentor joining in from the same big four, right? Who have been working almost more than 7.5 odd years, right? मतलब देखो 7.5 साल का experience है, right? And Anmol has been a mentor to me also, right? During my articleship days, है ना. एक दो बार कभी कभी डांट भी लगाई है, वो बात अलग है. But she has been a really a nice mentor to me, right? During this journey. And definitely she's going to be here with us to guide all of you how you can get into Big Four, what all things are there which you need to improve in your personality before you get into this, right? So without wasting much of our time, I would request all of you जो connected है भाई यहाँ पे, right? YouTube पे और Zoom पे, जो YouTube पे connected है, you can give a virtual claps. आप chat box में claps डाल सकते हो, right? और जो Zoom पे connected है, राइट, वीडियो ऑन करके, ऐसे ना कंजूसी ना करें, वीडियो ऑन करके, राइट, अनम्यूट करके, वीडियो ऑन करके, अनम्यूट करके, जोरदार तालियों के साथ अनम्यूट करके, वीडियो ऑन करके, ठीक है, अनम्यूट करके जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत करेंगे, राइट. Really happy to have you, Anmol, for this session out, right? One of the most awaited session for a very long time, right? And really happy to see you joining in for this session out. So just a small brief about Anmol. So she has been working with one of the leading Big Four, right, in Pune, and she has been there for almost 7.5 odd years, right? Currently, she's the manager there, and मतलब she's again a homegrown intern. Homegrown intern मतलब क्या होता है कि जो वहाँ से articleship complete किया and currently working there, right? So she's a right and perfect mentor to guide you out for this session. So really thanks, Anmol, for joining in for today's session, and really happy to have you for the session today.
Thank you so much, Shivam, for the lovely introduction. And you made me sound very old by saying that I've been working at this Big Four for 7.5 years. But yeah, that's true. I've seen, as you rightly said, the experience of the Big Four from an intern level and an executive assistant manager, now at a managerial level. So I hope that मैं कुछ insights दे पाऊँ आपके students को and यहाँ के audience को, that will help them to get into the Big Fours and pursue a career here.
Great. So I'll be keeping more on a podcast mode so that it's more interactive, right? And before we start this out, the session is more on a statutory audit domain, right? So let us ask the students out कि भाई आपको stat audit में क्यों जाना है? मतलब the students should put their answers in the chat box. Just wanted to know why you want to get into stat audit. Definitely we are there to explain you out. But सबसे पहले आपसे पूछते हैं why you, lot of you have joined this session out. What made you motivated to join this session? And what is something which excites you about Stat Audit domain? You can put it in a chat box. We'll be really happy to read. Right? बताइए क्यों Stat Audit में जाना है? Right? Any reason out. It can be money. It can be fame. It can be exit options. Right? You can just put it over a chat box. We'll be really happy to read the same. अच्छा chat disable है क्या? नहीं, enable है. हाँ. Got it. Most number of exit options. मोहित जी कह रहे हैं. Okay, got it. What about others past experience to know more about business? It's really interesting. Okay, versatile exposure. Got it. It in this domain we can utilize our curriculum of CA exam. क्या बात है? ये मुझे सबसे अच्छा
ये तो सब मेरे पॉइंट्स थे यार जो मैं बोलने वाली थी.
Okay, got it. Client interaction, exit options, right? Got it. To know more business, different industry. Got it. So Anmol, I just want you to share it out from your experience. Who should get into this domain, and what are the opportunities available to the people out who gets into this domain?
Right. So I'm very happy to see the type of answers actually. Somewhere most of them are very relevant. I mean, I can see words like industry, knowledge, coverage of financial statements. So I'm very happy to see the type of responses. So I'll divide my answer of, who should get into statutory audit into 2 to 3 parts. Okay. So the first reason that probably I got into statutory audit was that मुझे ऑडिट एज अ सब्जेक्ट बहुत पसंद था एंड जो मैंने थ्योरी में पढ़ा था ये मुझे प्रैक्टिकली अप्लाई करना था. तो आईपीसीसी में जो थोड़ा बहुत हमको ऑडिट असर्शंस ये सब सिखाया जाता है, आई वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टेड इन दैट एज अ थ्योरेटिकल सब्जेक्ट and hence I wanted to get into the practical aspect and see ki how can I apply this practically. So that was the first key motivator for me personally to join statutory audit. So anyone who is interested in the subject as a while they are studying should definitely consider statutory audit and will be fit for joining statutory audit. The next aspect I think is जिसको अपने profession और industry से connected रहना है. So I think someone said that as a chartered accountant, I would want to stay updated and connected. Anyone जिसको ये इंटरेस्ट है कि ऑडिटिंग स्टैंडर्ड में क्या चेंज हुआ है, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड में क्या चेंज हुआ है, रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क में क्या चेंज हुआ है, रेगुलेटरी एनवायरनमेंट्स में क्या अपडेट्स है, इसमें अगर इंटरेस्ट है और इससे कनेक्टेड रहने की इच्छा है, तो आई थिंक स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट आपको इतना वाइड परव्यू और इतना वाइड पिक्चर देता है कि आपका ये जो इंटरेस्ट है वो स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट में बहुत अच्छी तरह से फुलफिल होगा. Staying updated and staying connected with the updates or the changes happening in your profession, which is chartered accountancy. So I think that is the second type of person I feel who should consider statutory audit as a career opportunity. The next thing is, I think मैंने chat box में भी पढ़ा, someone who wants to probably get into practice going forward in life. खुद का practice, I mean, you can see, and practice can be a CA firm practice, or it can be starting something of your own also, like a venture of your own. You can see your sir, Shivam sir, has also got out of statutory audit experience and started something of his own. So I think जिसको भी future में अपना CA firm चालू करना है या कुछ अपना business चालू करना है, उसके लिए statutory audit is a very good kickstart. Because I think we'll discuss it more detail going in forward कि हम exactly करते क्या है statutory audit में और आपको क्या type का exposure मिलता है statutory audit में. But जो भी आपको exposure और experience मिलता है वो बहुत relevant होगा जब आप अपना कुछ venture चलाओगे future में या अपनी कोई practice चलाना चाहते हो future. So I think जिसका ultimate objective ऐसा कुछ है उसके लिए statutory audit experience for some years will be very relevant. This is what I believe. Next is, if I draw a comparison between say going into income tax or direct tax or any other specific domain versus statutory audit. So statutory audit will give you a overall picture of financial statements, of how businesses run, of various industries, because during your stint at any big four or any firm, you will work on different types of engagements, different types of businesses and clients. So आपको जो overall flavor versus एक specific niche, I think that is a very important aspect when I when I was also joining, that I wanted to get the overall understanding of financial statements. I wanted to get a business understanding of different industries. And that's why I feel I joined statutory audit, and that can be a very good reason for someone who wants to, get an overall understanding of financial, statutory audit, regulatory frameworks and updates. And that choice of statutory audit versus मैं taxation लूँ क्या, या मैं due diligence में जाऊँ क्या, या मैं कोई specific niche में जाऊँ versus मैं statutory audit में जाऊँ. तो I think ये एक aspect होता है जो आपको consider करना चाहिए. तो someone who wants a overall coverage and an overall understanding and an overall picture, I think statutory audit is the place to be for such people.
Got it.
Yes.
And also just to add on, right, lot of exit opportunities or lot of entry opportunities
Absolutely.
into new domains out require stat audit, like FDD demands stat audit experience.
Yes.
Right. So definitely this will also add on to your career when you are going to be going there. Now,
Absolutely.
moving forward to the next and very interesting question, and that is, how does a typical day of a CA fresher into Big Four looks like? मतलब मैं एक CA fresher हूँ, मुझे स्टार्ट ऑडिट में जाना है, मेरा हो भी गया मान लो, तो मैं जाके वहां करूंगा क्या, मतलब फॉर द फर्स्ट ईयर ऑफ माय जर्नी और सेकंड ईयर ऑफ माय जर्नी, एंड हाउ डज दिस चेंजेस एज एंड व्हेन द लेवल चेंजेस इन टर्म्स ऑफ फ्रॉम एग्जीक्यूटिव टू असिस्टेंट मैनेजर, फ्रॉम असिस्टेंट मैनेजर टू मैनेजर पोजीशन?
राइट. सो आई थिंक बहुत रेलेवेंट क्वेश्चन है, बिकॉज इंटरव्यूज में भी हमको ये सवाल आता है, व्हेन आई आस्क पीपल दैट डू यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस फॉर मी, पीपल आस्क मी कि मेरा रोल क्या होगा. आई थिंक सबको एंड में जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन के अलावा जो एक्चुअल रियलिटी है ऑन द फ्लोर वो जानना होता है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आई विल प्रोबेबली first tell you what we expect from a CA fresher when we are performing interviews, and then I'll link it to how what will you actually be doing when
Right.
you join a Big Four. So जो हमारा basic expectation होता है from a CA fresher is that the person has a good theoretical understanding of the subject matters. So आपने जो भी CA final में पढ़ा है वो आप सिर्फ रट के नहीं गए हो और आपको एक्चुअली वो समझा है. That is something that any interviewer or what we look for in a candidate. So the understanding of the subject matter is very important. Now, when you have this understanding, how can you practically apply this is something that we will look at. Going forward or taking this example forward, जो typical काम या areas आपको मिलते हैं जब आप बिग फोर ज्वाइन करेंगे फॉर अ क्वालिफाइड विल बी समथिंग लाइक से रेवेन्यू, ऑडिट ऑफ रेवेन्यू, ऑडिट ऑफ अकाउंट्स रिसीवेबल, ऑडिट ऑफ टैक्सेस. So you will get the more complex areas because we are expecting that a CA fresher who has qualified, has passed the exam, is aware of how to audit these key account captions in any financial statement. So this will be the base level expectation that will be there कि आपको complex areas का audit आना चाहिए, और जो आपका इंटर्नशिप का एक्सपीरियंस है वो आप कैसे लेवरेज कर सकते हैं जब आप बिग फोर ज्वाइन करें. तो आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल आउटलुक एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग. आई नो दैट एवरीवन जो इंटरव्यू देता है या बिग फोर ज्वाइन करने को एस्पायर करता है उसका इक्वल लेवल का एक्सपीरियंस नहीं होगा. मे बी इंटर्नशिप में कुछ लोगों ने कॉम्प्लेक्स क्लाइंट्स किए और कुछ लोगों ने नहीं किए हैं, या कुछ लोगों का बहुत स्पेसिफिक एक्सपीरियंस होता है where they've done only GST audit या only income tax returns. तो वैसे भी केसेस होते हैं जो स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट आने को एस्पायर करते हैं. तो इन केसेस के लिए या ऐसे बच्चों के लिए who want to get into statutory audit but उनका relevant एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है इंटर्नशिप में, उनके लिए आई थिंक the only the tip or the ask is that जो आपने theoretically पढ़ा है वो आप अच्छे से इंटरव्यूज में बता पाओ और प्रैक्टिकल आउटलुक एक्सप्लेन कर पाओ. तो कोई एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करेगा कि आपको कंपनीज एक्ट का रिलेटेड पार्टी का सेक्शन याद होना चाहिए, बट व्हाट इज द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट फॉर रिलेटेड पार्टी, इफ आई गिव एन एग्जांपल, वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. तो ये बेसिक एक्सपेक्टेशंस है और ये आपका दिस विल बी द वर्क स्कोप. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट व्हाट आई आल्सो वांट टू से इज सीए फ्रेशर का एक एडेड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होता है कोई भी बिग फोर में, व्हिच इज वर्किंग विद द टीम. So working with a team means that normally in any, this will vary depending on जो आपको client मिला, जिस size का client मिला, but normally आप 2 या 3 लोगों के साथ ही काम करोगे. ये आपका junior हो सकता है, आपका reporting senior हो सकता है, So how can you effectively work in a team? That is also something which is very, very important when you're joining statutory audit, because any audit is not a one person job or a one man army. It is a group of people, or it is a team usually that is working. So your ability to interact with your team members, be it juniors, seniors, is very important. So I think these are the few aspects which I feel are critical for anyone who is looking at joining, and these are the base level expectations, I would say.
Got it. And how does the role changes once we are joining from executive to assistant manager and to manager?
Right. So as an executive, we expect, or you will largely be executing or working on areas. So as I said, आपको audit करना पड़ेगा revenue का, audit करना पड़ेगा accounts receivable का, और ऐसे complex areas team manage करना पड़ेगा, team के साथ काम करना पड़ेगा. That is your role as an executive. Now, if I go to the next level, which is assistant manager, largely, it can be senior executive in some big fours. It can be assistant manager in some big fours. Nomenclature vary करता है. But the next level essentially, उसमें एक added responsibility आ जाता है of oversight of a job. तो as an executive, आप अपना area कर रहे हो, आप अपने area के बारे में अपने senior को बता रहे हो, और आप अपने junior के साथ interact कर रहे हो, उसको guide कर रहे हो. That is the role. But as an assistant manager, आपको इंश्योर करना है कि आपकी पूरी एंगेजमेंट, मतलब ना कि अपने एरियाज बट सबके एरियाज ट्रैक पे चल रहे हैं, एंगेजमेंट टाइम से खत्म हो रहा है, रिपोर्टिंग टाइमलाइंस हम अडियर कर रहे हैं क्या, इशू आइडेंटिफिकेशन हम कर पा रहे हैं क्या, कोई ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में अगर मेरा क्वालिफिकेशन है, ICFR में कोई प्रॉब्लम्स है, हम आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं अप्रोप्रिएट इश्यूज, और हम रिव्यू कर रहे हैं हमारे जूनियर का काम. सो एज एन असिस्टेंट मैनेजर, the key change that will come is you will have to review the work of your juniors and ensure that your engagement is on track in terms of timelines, and you are identifying the required issues and reporting it to your next level. So this will largely be that as an assistant manager level, depending again on the time of the year, you'll be doing anywhere between 1 or 2 engagements at a time. तो आप 2 एंगेजमेंट साथ में कर रहे हो, वो भी एक की डिफरेंशिएटर होता है. एग्जीक्यूटिव लार्जली एक टाइम पे एक ही क्लाइंट करता है, बट असिस्टेंट मैनेजर को एक क्लाइंट नहीं 2 क्लाइंट मैनेज करना पड़ेगा. अगेन दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन द टाइम ऑफ द ईयर, बिकॉज April, May is a busy season, December, November may not be that busy as a season. Now moving to the next level, as a manager, the number of clients increases. So instead of 2 clients, as a manager, if I look at my own example, I have a portfolio of 6 clients that I manage throughout the year. So the number of clients will definitely increase. Now, review responsibility मेरी भी है. So मेरे को जब review करना है, मैं भी equally work papers उठाती हूँ, review करती हूँ, audit report देखती हूँ, financials देखती हूँ. तो review करना मेरी भी responsibility है. But what is the differentiator between an assistant manager and a manager level? So for me, it is important कि मैं client relationship कैसे maintain कर रही हूँ. Am I talking to my clients regularly? Am I updated about what are the changes happening at a client? So to give you an example, अगर मेरे कोई client में merger हो रहा है या acquisition हो रहा है, am I being able to talk to the client about this, discuss on what can be the probable impact of such a transaction on the financial statements, on the financial reporting that we are going to do. So this is the differentiator between an assistant manager and manager. Client connect, client interaction. How can I effectively give client insights with respect to an audit? So एक होता है कि ठीक है हम जा रहे हैं, हम audit कर रहे हैं, areas complete कर रहे हैं, audit report बना रहे हैं, ICFR बना रहे हैं, और हम हमारा routine काम कर रहे हैं. दूसरा होता है how can I value add to the client? क्या मैं client को उनके process में कोई इम्प्रूवमेंट बता पा रही हूँ, क्या मैं उनको उनका टाइम सेव कर पा रही हूँ, कैन आई गिव देम एनीथिंग ऑफ वैल्यू ओवर एंड अबव एन ऑडिट. सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट इज एक्सपेक्टेड, और दैट changes when you move from assistant manager to manager level. So as a manager, you are responsible for your job, you are responsible for maintaining good client relationships and ensuring that you are giving some value add or some sort of an insight to your clients over and above your routine audit work. So that is the key change. So if I broadly divide it into the pointers that change is what I mentioned, but overall जैसे एक्सपीरियंस बढ़ता है in terms of years, वैसे maturity और conversations change होते हैं largely. So that is also very important, how you're talking to people or not talking to your team or talking to your client. So I think that is very important at a manager level.
Got it, got it, got it. Well, you correctly explained it out. How does the journey go, right? Well, this is what the growth trajectory of the people, those who are going to be joining in Big Four, especially in Stat Audit. Now, moving forward to the next and very important question for which a lot of students are waiting. Ki, definitely, few of them don't have a good that exposure of a Stat Audit, although you have highlighted it, right? Few of them, Stat Audit ke jagah, they have done vouching verification only in their articleship, right? So what type of preparation which they should do, right? Or what type of things which they should read at least, right? Which can help them out to clear the interviews. That is point number one. And what is something, right, which Big Four look into before they are going to be hiring the candidates out? Although you have highlighted it, but I
Yes.
want you to be thoda sa more specific about the technical terms or some basic things which you would check if you would hiring someone, right? So that is something which I want you to highlight.
Right. First I'll answer the second question as to what is the interviewer looking at, because once you know कि मेरा interviewer मुझसे क्या चाहता है, उसका back preparation तो हम कर ही लेंगे. तो मैं first ये emphasize करूंगी that हम जब interviews लेते हैं of any candidate, हम लोग क्या top चीजें देखते हैं in a candidate. Okay. So I'll divide it into largely 4 or 5 sections. So the first section is, of course, which I already touched upon, technical knowledge and understanding. So जो भी आपने अपने CA final के curriculum में पढ़ा है theoretically, वो आपको आना चाहिए. So I'll take an example. Say when I'm interviewing someone in a Big Four, I'll normally ask a CA fresher how to audit revenue and accounts receivable. I'll give them a background of a client that say this is the client you're auditing is a 250 crore turnover auto ancillary company. You are asked to audit revenue and accounts receivable for such a client. And please tell me what you will do. What will be your audit program, for example? Okay. So when I ask such a question of which is pertaining to pure technical, like draft an audit program or tell me what you will do. What I am expecting from the person, from the candidate, is a structured answer in terms of what are the assertions that are impacted when I'm looking at revenue and accounts receivable. Each assertion को मैं किस audit procedure से address करूंगी. So for example, अगर मुझे revenue का completeness देखना है, तो मैं cut off testing करूंगी. मुझे revenue में presentation disclosure देखना है, तो मैं schedule 3 के disclosure requirements और Ind AS के disclosure requirements के साथ compliance check करूंगी. So this is the type of answers that the interviewer is expecting. So in this answer, if I broadly divide it, it will be 1, structured thinking, 2, going down to the actual assertion or the account caption that we are talking and being specific in your answers, and 3, reference to your relevant technical literature, relevant reporting guidance, all of that. So this is the overall expectation when an interviewer is asking you a technical question. Now, if I go to the next pillar, so once you are being able to demonstrate your technical understanding of subject matter. So this is one example. You'll have similar questions. How do you audit income taxes, or draft an audit program for Caro, or draft an audit program for payroll. So whichever area is given to you as an interview question, how are you being able to address the risks associated in that area by the audit procedures that you are suggesting. So that is the first pillar or the first evaluation criteria, which is technical understanding of your subject matter. If I go to the second pillar, second aspect that we normally look at is knowledge of the recent amendments and changes. So to give you an example, last year, Schedule 3 and Caro underwent changes, and the entire disclosure requirements for Schedule 3 underwent significant changes. You had additional disclosures. In Caro, you had new reporting clauses. So the hot question that every interviewer asked in last year's interview cycle was, give me the changes in Caro that happened. So the base expectation when when going for any interview is to know what has changed during the year or recently, and what can impact the financials or the reporting for that particular year. So being aware of the amendments. And I'll just add one thing over here. One thing is, okay, कारो में 5 नए clause आए तो मैंने clause का heading पढ़ के वो मैंने बता दिया. But from a CA fresher, that is not expected. What is the implication of that? Or how has this new clause impacted companies, or why has this clause been introduced? That will give you an edge over the other candidates. So being able to analyze the change and giving an insight on the change is something that will give you an edge when you are interviewing. So if I give an example, there was a new reporting requirement for in Caro for cash losses. So मतलब बहुत सारे interview candidates आके बोलते हैं कि Caro में एक नया clause add हुआ है, you have to report if the company has any cash losses. खत्म. That is the only thing. So this is what even I have read, and I know that this is the heading of the amendment. But why was this clause introduced, and how can this clause lead to better governance and reporting for a company is something that you have to analyze. And if you say this in an interview, you will get an added advantage over the other candidates. So second pillar was knowledge of changes, knowledge of amendments is very important, along with your view and your analysis of such changes. The third thing is, somewhere I covered it in the first point also, having a practical outlook. So I will again repeat what I said some time back, that related party के section का number आपको याद नहीं होना चाहिए, but related party section में क्या है और इसका क्या implication हो सकता है वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. So having a practical outlook on your theoretical knowledge, that is very, very important, and that is the third evaluation criteria where you will be asked questions जहाँ पे आपको कोई भी theoretical clause का या कोई भी theoretical section का practical implication पूछा जाएगा या उसका impact analysis पूछा जाएगा. So practically applying what you know theoretically is the third evaluation criteria. The fourth point that we look at when we are interviewing someone is communication skills and soft skills. So communication skills necessarily ये नहीं है कि आपको English ही आनी चाहिए या necessarily ये नहीं है that you have to be very great in or articulation. The main thing is what I mean by good communication skills is how are you being able to portray your thoughts in a structured manner in front of the interviewer, be it in Hindi, be it in English. I think these two languages are largely what we are using at all the big fours, and whatever you are comfortable with, I think talking clearly, not hesitating, and wherever you need time, I think being honest and saying, can I have a minute to think about this, rather than just thinking out loud. So I think that is something that we really appreciate. So if I ask a candidate a question and the candidate is not immediately usko answer click nahi ho raha hai, but if the candidate is honest enough to tell me that ma'am, can I take a moment and think about this, and then structure the answer in their head and then say it out loud, that's what I mean by communication skills. So being able to articulate properly in whatever language you are comfortable with, I think that is very, very important, and that is something that will be used as an evaluation criteria. And along with communication skills, soft skills, by soft skills I mean your basic understanding of Excel, Word, PowerPoint. I think these are things that are very important when you're getting into a big four, and ensuring that even if you have not had the relevant experience in your internship, doing some kind of a course or going on YouTube, going on Udemy, learning about these things is very important, because I think Excel, Word and PowerPoint, ये तीन चीजें तो आपको लगने ही वाली है when you are joining a big four as a CA fresher. So being proficient in Excel, Word and PowerPoint is something that will be asked and expected when you're joining a big four. I think the last thing is something which I try to test a lot. I have not yet come up with a perfect interview question for this, but intent of the candidate. So when you are joining a big four statutory audit or any domain for that matter, your purpose of why you are joining this should be very clear in your head. So I liked how people went out and wrote answers of why they want to join statutory audit. So you will be asked this question in an interview, and how well you are able to डेमोन्स्ट्रेट योर इंटेंट कि मुझे क्यों ज्वाइन करना है बिग फोर. ये जितने क्लैरिटी से आप बता पाओगे, आई थिंक दैट विल गिव यू all the required edge in an interview, because intent is something, intent not only as to why you're joining, but intent to learn, intent to understand, and intent to grow in an organization. I think that is something that I personally look at when I hire any candidate or interview any candidate. So I think these are the 5 pillars that I could think of when I interview people, or what an interviewer will largely look at when you're joining a Big Four.
Great. I think very structurized way you told to the students out. Now also just wanted to highlight to the people, those who are connected, right? The intent which you highlighted. So a lot of pre-screening call or a lot of screening call which you're going to be getting from either from HR or a lot of consulting firms, right? So this is something which is tested. To be very honest, I don't know. A lot of people says that कि सर है ना, मुझे ना HR का कॉल आया, उसके बाद मुझे कॉल ही नहीं आया, या आई एम नॉट गेटिंग द इंटरव्यू कॉल्स, राइट? उसके 2 मेन रीजन है. नंबर 1, ड्यूरिंग अ प्री स्क्रीनिंग कॉल यू हैव मेस्ड अप. Many a times I have heard it, right? A lot of HR ask this favorite question: why start audit? Why this Big Four? Talk about your articleship journey, right? If you're not confident enough to deliver it, definitely they will keep your profile on hold, right? So I would request all of you, those who are serious about this role, either about start audit, enter audit, whichever domain you want to get into, just write down the why about that profile. Okay, and it should again come in terms of pointers, right? Which is their rule of 3, rule of 4, which I've already taught you in previous sessions out, right? So that is there. Second is why this company, right? And why you, कि मैं ही क्यों, right? So build a good storyline which will help you out, right? And that is something which is going to be tested. Third, they'll also definitely check whether you have done something great in your articleship. If yes, you should be presentable enough to tell them. If not, build a good storyline. At least you have a good exposure. You have done some courses out. You have learned these things about this, and you should be aware of this, है ना? तो काफी सारी चीजें हैं, right, which CA Monk is also doing it for you guys, which you can see, right? We have recorded a masterclass for all the domains out. वो देख सकते हो. So again, lot of things which are there, right? But again, you should be able to deliver it well if you are saying this in front of an interviewer or in front of a HR. Got it. Now moving to the again next question out in terms of a start audit. Definitely a lot of students again ask me कि सर start audit में जाना तो है, right? But सर वहाँ पे work life balance रहती है कि नहीं? तो I would only prefer to answer this, right? Definitely Anmol can add on to this. But देखो, work life balance as a fresher, I would say you should not consider it. That is point number 1. पॉइंट नंबर 2, देखो सिंपल है, जहां लर्निंग ज्यादा है, राइट, वहां पे डेफिनेटली यू नीड टू पुट एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट्स टू लर्न इट. बिकॉज इनिशियली, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माय जर्नी आउट, राइट, तो शुरू में लगता था कि भाई बहुत ज्यादा काम है, बट वो दैट हेल्प मी टू वर्क डे एंड नाइट नाउ व्हाट आई एम डूइंग टुडे. सो डेफिनेटली जो आपका पर्सनैलिटी बिल्ड होगा ना आफ्टर गेटिंग इनटू दिस, राइट, तो यू विल बी एबल टू डिलीवर मोर, राइट? यू विल कम टू नो योर पोटेंशियल. बिकॉज शुरू में क्या होता है कि अभी देखो एग्जाम लीव था, 6 महीना छुट्टी था, राइट, तो वो काम करने की आदत छूट जाती है, एंड ऑल ऑफ अ सडन यू मूव टू सम जॉब, राइट, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली यू फील कि यार काम बढ़ गया है. नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, राइट? दैट इज व्हाट योर पोटेंशियल इज, एंड वी आर ब्रिंगिंग बैक टू योर पोटेंशियल. तो दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच इज गोना बी देयर. That is just wanted to highlight on. I think Anmol, if you can want to add on something to this.
Yeah. I think I definitely agree to the point that you mentioned that, as a CA fresher, work-life balance is something that, my views on work-life balance are very different, because I've spent 7 years managing work and life at the Big Four. So I honestly believe that in any job, there are periods when you have to put in a little extra effort, and there are equal amount of opportunities to enjoy and chill also. So for me, if I typically tell you, April and May is so busy that I hardly get to spend time at home, cannot talk to my friends, don't speak properly to my parents, and I'm just so busy that I come home in the evening, late in the evening, and leave early in the morning. So I know that, okay, I know this because that's the peak period of any auditor. But flip side to that, November, December is so chill for me that I know that I can very well plan a vacation in the month of November and December, right? So I think this is work-life balance. It is not that every day you can balance work and life. You have to look at it over a time frame. Okay, you cannot say that मेरा रोज 8 घंटा काम है और 4 घंटा मैं टाइम पास करूंगी और मैं बाकी का टाइम सोऊंगी. So don't look at work life balance on a day to day basis. Look at work life balance over a period of time, over a 6 month domain or over a 1 year timeline, and then see how overall your work and life is actually balanced. But we only focus on that one period where we are so stressed that that time we don't have any life and we have only work. But it's not like that on a long-term horizon. So I think that is what I would like to say to anyone who's trying to join Big Four. It's not that every day you get to go home at 6 o'clock. Of course not. But it's not that every day you're going home at 12 o'clock also. It's not like that. So I think that's the key takeaway, I think.
Got it. I would also like you to highlight on, I think a lot of Big Fours also give the opportunities for secondments and
Yes.
going to some other countries and working with the Big Four of that country out. So just a small highlight on the same, because a lot of students think of कि मुझे global opportunities नहीं मिलेगा. To get a global opportunities, I should only work with the global firms, right? So just some highlight on the same.
Yes. So I think that's a very good point that you picked up, that many Big Fours offer secondment opportunities. So I'll just briefly explain what a secondment is. So basically, most of the Big Fours have offices across the globe, and there are resource requirements inter branch, right? So now if say a Deloitte has an office in India and a Deloitte also has an office in the US, a job in US requires some resources which they are falling short of. They'll come to Deloitte India and ask for people and say, can you send 3 people to us for 6 months and work on this particular engagement for us? So Deloitte India will offer 3 people to them, and those 3 people will not work on the India jobs, but they'll work on the US jobs. This will also involve traveling to the US and actually working from US Deloitte office. So this is sharing of resources between locations, and that's what a secondment is. So considering that all the Big Fours have offices across the globe, these opportunities come up a lot in Big Fours, where you get to go to another office of your firm and work there on the clients over there. So I think this is a very I would say it's a very, very enriching experience professionally, because getting a job in the US or getting a job in the UK will be a little more difficult compared to making that switch internally and going there for 6 months and coming back, because they know that you are equipped with the required knowledge. You already know how the processes work, how Deloitte's as a audit practice will work, for example, and you will be able to deliver on the job over there very well, because you already know how it works in Deloitte India. So I think professionally, this is a very enriching experience, and you have these opportunities in Big Four. All you have to do is be vocal about your want to go out. You have to tell your reporting managers, you have to tell your reporting partners, and I am interested in something like this, and definitely you will get a chance. So this will give you an opportunity to travel, also to understand different industries and different geographies, and also work abroad. So I think, yeah, that's a very, very good opportunity within which is there within a Big Four.
Got it. Great. So now I would like to open the forum for the students who have connected here, right? In one of the YouTube comment, one student said that, sir, student mat bola karo, member bola karo humko. I said, so sorry. The members which are connected here, I would request them to put their doubts in the chat box, right? We'll be really happy to address whatever queries you have, right? Jo bhi queries hai, right? You can just put it over in the chat box. We'll be happy to cover all those queries. Okay. Shiva is saying, great insight, ma'am. Thanks. Thank you, CMO, for organizing. Yes. Okay. Sir, what happened if we have given अच्छा ये तो बेचारे का consent का दिक्कत है, ठीक है. Okay. I think number of attempts, I think, does not matter much unless and until you have a good exposure and able to deliver well.
Absolutely.
Right? So that
we have
is there.
people within Big Four who are interns who are still trying to clear but are continuing to work, and no one is asking them to leave or anything like that. So I think this is a very big myth that people have, that your interviewers are considering or looking at the number of attempts. I think that's not at all a criteria that we look at.
Got it. Very interesting question. Interview for internal audit is tough or stat audit? जो आसान रहेगा वो दूंगा. ठीक है. तो again मतलब so internal audit interview will be more towards a process stuff. They'll ask you regarding P2P process, O2C process, right, which is there, and stat audit is definitely थोड़ा सा different रहेगा because यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा Ind AS का knowledge, processes का knowledge, updates, amendments का knowledge, right? So all those things are gonna be there. Okay. How to close an interview at the end, right? Very good question. Someone has asked me, at the end, what question should I ask to an interviewer?
Right. So normally, once the interviewer is done with their technical questions, they'll give you the opportunity and ask, do you have any questions for me? So I think at that time, that is an opportunity actually, that is not कि आपको जो भी silly questions है आप वो पूछो. That is your opportunity to demonstrate your thinking and your knowledge apart from technical knowledge. So your interview was full of technical questions, right? Revenue कैसे audit करना है, tax कैसे audit करना है, ये सब आपने बोल दिया. But when you are given a chance to speak in general, I think that is very, very important, and that is something that can give you an edge. So what I normally, what I feel happy when someone tells me, like if someone is being able to show what knowledge they have about the organization that they're trying to join. So Shivam rightly mentioned that, your HR screening calls will also have questions like why this Big Four or why statutory audit. So when you are able to demonstrate that towards an end of an interview, like, you can, it's not necessary to ask any question. You can simply say that, I'm very thankful for this opportunity to interview. I know that, say now you're looking at Pune as a market, right? So I know Pune as a market, you are auditing the key, XYZ clients, and, I'm really interested in this industry. Or for me, joining this Big Four will give me an opportunity to work with the leaders in this particular sector. And, I really want to work with this person or that person. So giving out that, flavor that, I have worked hard enough to read about the organization and read about the market and come here and actually say that, how I am relevant for your organization. I think that's one of the best ways to close an interview. And I'm sure HR or other people will answer your questions like, what is the salary or when will I get a call? And, all of that you can keep it aside. I'm not saying that you can't ask the interviewer that. You can also ask the interview how the interview went. Is there anything that, I can improve? All that is absolutely fine. But I think taking that opportunity to let the interviewer know that, I have taken an extra effort to prepare for this interview in any way possible. I think that is the best way to close an interview.
Got it. A few students are worried about this question is that can I approach Big Four off campus? Definitely, yes, you can approach. Right, a lot of vacancies you'll be able to find it on LinkedIn. Yes. Right, so a lot of people are ready to help you guys. Only thing is that you just need to know how to use LinkedIn well. I think that is something which will help you out. मतलब मैं तो खोलता हूँ मेरे को every day 5-6 post. I just find out the people have posted it. Right, so that is something which will be helpful to you. तो LinkedIn को थोड़ा सा अच्छे से capitalize करो. I think the people are there who can help you out. Okay. Someone is asking that I don't have a good exposure of stat audit and I have worked into taxation domain. Can I join the stat audit?
Yes, definitely you can. Of course, you will have to put in extra efforts to prepare before the interview. You will have to brush up on whatever you have studied theoretically in audit as a subject in your CA final. As I said, get to know about the key amendments, put in that extra effort. And I think one tip for anyone from a non-audit internship background trying to aspiring to enter into statutory auditors, put in some time and read the financial statements of listed clients, any listed company available in the public domain end to end. Start from the audit report, read the entire financial till the last page of the financial. And if you have the interest or the time, please read the entire annual report of any client or any company. So I think that will give you a lot of understanding, because see, that is the final deliverable, right? That is what we work towards. At the end, हम जो भी audit करते हैं, that culminates into our audit report and our financial statements, जिस पे आपको नीचे हमारा signature मिलेगा, right? So reading an annual report, reading financial statements for and not only non-audit internship people, even people who've done an internship in audit, as an intern, you do not get that overall view, right, of what is happening in the financial statements as a whole. So spending that time reading an annual report, reading financial statements, reading audit reports is very, very important. Reading limited review reports that we give in, to SEBI. I think reading these documents will give you an understanding of what is the final deliverable and what are you working towards, and then you will be able to prepare in a better manner for your interview.
Okay, got it. Right, so definitely that is something which is going to be helping out. और उसमें भी अगर say for example if you're applying to specific big four, try to read the partner who have signed it. उस listed company का रहा तो you can again quote the name कि I've read the audit report of this partner who have done it, right? So that is again something which is going to be helping you out. And one more thing, just also wanted to mention for the people, those who are there, right? Those who are new to this. So I've also tried to create one Stat Audit Masterclass. यहाँ पे you can just go to the placement tab on my website. यहाँ पे you'll find a masterclass. Just scroll it down. You'll find a Stat Audit Masterclass which I've created. It's there for all the domains, right? You can just check it out. A lot of my students have done it, right? More than 1,000 students have registered for this, right? So definitely we are trying to give you more of an industry experience and you'll love it. इसके साथ साथ I have also issued the Stat Audit का question bank which is there, right? So you'll be able to find it over a Telegram group, right? CMONK8 is our Telegram group. Telegram में जाके CMONK8 लिखना, वहाँ पे just type Stat Audit question bank, वो मिल जाएगा. You can just again scroll it down through. That is something which is going to be helping you out. YouTube पे जो connected है, link chat पे pin है. You can just check it out, which is there. Next, I'll just move to the things around which are a lot of students are asking. What is unrealistic expectations did your experience from your seniors? अच्छा ये तो HR questions है, right? Don't worry, right? इसको will have a separate session for HR questions. Any specific questions if it is there related to Stat Audit, will be happy to answer it. In case of new technology, how did you manage? ठीक है. How did your feedback? ठीक है. I think behavioral question और इसके लिए we have a separate session. For a person from a Stat Audit background, how much lens should be put in while preparing for interviews on a work done via theoretical knowledge? If you could cover the last question, Anmol, the last one.
So if I understand the question rightly, I think you're trying to ask that how much should I, brush up on theory, or should I, focus more on what I did practically? So I think it's both. You need to be aware of, your concepts theoretically. You need to brush up before the interview, but always know how you are going to apply that practically. So what you have done in your internship is something that you should be able to bring out when you're, talking to the interviewer in some or the other way, and then tell them that, this is what I've done. And basis my theoretical reading, even though I've not done this, being honest about that, even though I've not done this area, but I've read about it, and this is what I believe. So I think it's a mix of both, and having that theoretical knowledge and practical experience, both is equally important. There's no one which is more important than the other.
Got it. Someone is asking, do we get an outstation audit in Big Fours, and what frequently?
Yes. So you do get outstation audits, definitely. I mean, if I look at Pune as a market, you will get audits in, say, Nasik, or you'll get it in Aurangabad, and, areas in and around Pune. Similarly, in other locations where Big Four is situated, you will get, or you could get audits that are outstation. Yeah. So I think the answer to that is yes. And it's not that 100% anyone who joins a Big Four will get an outstation audit. It clear, very, very much depends on which partner you're working with, or which sector you're working with. Accordingly, that will differ.
Got it. Anmol, if you could also just give a brief about what is FS, IIC, and TMT. Matlab, if just a small brief about these three sectors into Stat Audit domain.
Right. So normally, when you're looking at a Big Four statutory audit, within statutory audit also we have compartmentalization, or we have further departments depending on the type of the engagement. why this is done? It's because every partner, has a specific domain knowledge or a sector experience, basis which they will be more suitable or value add for a particular type of an engagement or particular type of an industry. And hence, within statutory audit also, you will hear terms like FS, TMT, IIC. So these are categorizations based on industries. So in, typically FS will mean financial services. So you'll have audits of NBFCs and banks and insurance companies within FS as a practice. If I go to TMT, you'll have telecommunications and marketing industries. Okay. So those are compartmentalization based on nature of industry and nature of client. So again, when you're joining a Big Four, be very much aware of, actually asking this question, because I'm sure many people have preferences, right? कि मुझे banking audit में interest है, या मुझे TMT audit में interest है, या IIC is like general industrial and consumer goods, मुझे उसमें interest है. So I think it's a very good point asking that, within statutory audit also, the particular opening is for which sector or which subdivision within statutory audit will also give you a better understanding of the job profile, and in turn help you prepare for the interview, right? So if you're interviewing for FS as a practice, then you should be aware of the regulations for NBFCs. You should be aware of the regulations for banking, and then give that interview.
Got it. So can we change the sector over a period of time?
Yes, you have that opportunity. Although I would say it is rare post an assistant manager or managerial level. As a CA fresher executive, if you believe that, I'm working in, say, FS as a practice, I'm doing NBFC's banking audit, but मेरे को इसमें interest नहीं है. I think realizing that as soon as possible is better for you, because making a switch at a later level will be slightly difficult. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it will be a little more difficult, because once, you spent 2 or 3 years as an executive working in a particular sector, you are being evaluated for the next level, right? You're being evaluated for your next promotion to assistant manager. And at that time, saying that I want to change my sector itself will, impact your next level evaluation. And also you'll have to start from scratch in the new sector, because every sector has a different understanding of business that you need, different understanding of the domain that you need to work in that sector. So I think making that switch or making that choice at a early level is better, and then that switch is possible, easier.
Got it. One question which student is again asking is that, does Big Four appoints graduate for any job profile related to audit?
Yes. So you have this concept which is recently being started in most Big Fours, where we have a team of graduates or BCom, people are pursuing BCom, MCom. We are hiring them in statutory audit department as well. They perform audit support functions. So by audit support, I mean that you will be working with the audit team. Your client interaction may be minimal. I will not say that it will be zero, but your client interaction and face-to-face, discussing with the clients or issue discussion or whatever will be less. It will be more with the audit team. So you are supporting the core audit team, which is a team of chartered accountants, and you are working with them as audit support. So there is a sector, there is a specific section within Big Fours that is now hiring BCom graduates and MCom graduates to support audit as a practice.
Got it. Just one important question, which is CV specific. So supposingly if you're hiring someone, right, what all things you look into someone's resume before you're going to be hiring someone or calling for interview? Right.
So when HR is performing CV related screening, I think the key top 3-4 items that we look at is, one, how well have you summarized your qualifications, educational qualifications, of course, whether you've covered your, entire journey as in terms of what you have studied. That is one. Second, how well are you able to bring out what you've done in your internship? So summarizing your experience as an internship helps the interviewer to ask you more relevant questions. So for example, if I know that, as an intern, you have worked on a particular type of an engagement. So I'm not saying mention the name of the client, because many times, that may not be something that you want to do. But mentioning the sector, being specific in what you've done. Like I have worked on, capital goods sector, and I have performed an audit of XYZ areas. I supported my seniors in doing XYZ work. So being specific about your experience is something which is very important, because when any Big Four is hiring or any HR is screening CVs, I think they are aware of what is the client profile that we handle. So if I'm working in Pune as a market, I have a lot of auto ancillary companies. I have a lot of software companies, because Pune is that type of a market, right? So if you have done your internship and you are able to highlight the relevant experience, I think your CV will stand out compared to the others, because you will have the relevant experience also. I think summarizing your articleship experience is very important. And if you have any, additional courses or anything that you've done extra curricular, by extracurricular, I don't mean, like I like reading books or I like singing, dancing, not like that, being specific. So I have done, say, a Udemy course on Excel, or, I have done financial modeling because, I am interested in that kind of stuff. So whatever extra curricular activity associated to your profession, or associate to finance as a background, if I, put CA within finance as an overall umbrella, if you can put that out in your resume, I think that will also give you a added advantage. And I mean, just one thing, don't go ahead and write an overcommit in your CV also, because apne jo likha hai, I'm sure the interviewer will pick it up somewhere in the interview, or be it a small part also, and they will try to test whether what you've written is right. So I think being honest and that integrity matters a lot when you are writing in your resume.
That's true. That's true. So if you're going to be start faking something in your resume, interviewer will start discounting it, right? So that is something which you need to ensure that. Someone is asking that if I have majorly worked into DT and my CV does not include stat audit, thoda sa, just as shown, you can do master classes, you can learn something out. Thoda sa to dikhao CV mein ki you have worked something into stat audit. Do not fake it, but learn it and then you can show it out. Because if someone is hiring you, he'll expect some skills, mindset, right? आपको पूछेंगे assertions क्या impact हो रहे revenue को, तो आप बोल ही नहीं पाओगे. He'll like भाई साहब, देखो एक तो DT से इधर आना है. Then do not say that कि हाँ हाँ नहीं मैंने तो DT में article चुप किया था, right? तो interview will be feel offended, right? If you're gonna be giving this type of answers. Okay. Someone is saying that a lot of Big Fours have no vacancy for stat audit. So how can we get into Big Four off-campus stat audit? I think we have covered this out, right? You can just try to connect with the people on LinkedIn. I think that is a good way. You can connect with your friends, seniors, juniors, right? A lot of people are there to help you out, right? So ho jayega. Only the thing is that your CV should be good enough. जो pre-screening stage हो रहा है ना, वो आपका clear नहीं हो रहा है. जिसको कॉल नहीं आ रहा है, आई वुड से दैट योर प्री स्क्रीनिंग इज नॉट गोइंग करेक्ट, आइदर इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीवी और इन टर्म्स ऑफ देखो मोस्टली आई हैव सीन दैट कि किसी ना किसी को तो मेल आ गया होगा बिग फोर से, राइट? कि वो मेल आ गया हो बट उस सीवी अटका पड़ा है बिकॉज आपका सीवी उतना स्ट्रांग नहीं लग रहा है इंटरव्यूअर को, और HR have given you a call for pre-screening and she must have realized that you don't hold that good experience into that domain. So that is the reason why you're kept on hold. Right. So that is something I think which we have covered it. What are the further education facilities available if we join Big Four? I think a lot of learning courses will be there. I think Udemy to pura free mein mil jata hai if you join. It's there. इसके अलावा lot of learning programs are there. मतलब there is a proper matrix which is maintained, right? L&D के आपके learning hours आपको complete करने पड़ते हैं. I think it's 60 or 80 odd hours. Yes. I don't remember it, but yeah, इतने hours रहते हैं, तो मतलब that is something which will be focused on once you're going to be joining in. Okay, should we wait for Big Six or join any mediocre firm? इसका कोई सही और गलत आंसर नहीं है, but it's like connecting a dot, which I would say, right? Again, you just decide. थोड़ा सा hunt करो, you get it out, decide a timeline. That is what I'll say. कि इस टाइम तक अगर मिल गया तो bang on, नहीं तो फिर you have an option to join in. Later on, definitely there's option to switch, right? Which is there. Okay. Got it. Anmol, before we conclude, यार कोई pro tip बता दो for this students out so that they can clear into Big Four interviews and definitely they'll give us a party. हम दोनों को party देंगे पक्का ये लोग, right? मुझे नहीं पता कितने लोग देंगे, but before we close this session out, any pro tip which you would like to give to the students out before they are going to be sitting for interviews or going for interviews for Start Audit?
So I think if I look at one pro tip, I think getting this, fear or myth that, this is the big four firm out of your head, and preparing diligently and honestly for the interview, like you would do for any interview, and uh, making use of all the resources that you have, being prepared, being updated, having your theoretical knowledge in place. I think that is what is most important, and going into the interview with a positive, calm outlook that, I'm going to crack this thing. And it's not, don't keep this big four baggage on your shoulders when you're going into this interview, right? And irrespective of the fact that you've done your internship from a small firm, medium sized firm, other big four, I think removing that baggage from your head and going at it with your 100% level of preparation is something which is most important. And I honestly believe that, um, you know, having this baggage on your head will only make you make mistakes or fumble, or get scared and not able to recollect what you actually even know in an interview. So just forget big four, forget big six, and just go for the interview with your best level of preparation and put your best foot forward. I think that's the only pro tip that I have in terms of cracking the interview.
Got it, got it, got it. Great. I think very well explained each and every point, and it was also a great learning for me in terms of what is going in terms of interview side, right? What all things interviewer are expecting, right? I would request the students or the members, right, who have connected, to please drop your feedback in the chat box, right? It would be great for us to read, right? Definitely, we'll be happy to organize more sessions for all of you guys, right? Just stay connected on this channel. Just stay connected, right? Fatafat feedback batao, right? How was the session, right? I hope you guys must have enjoyed it, right? What was your feedback? And जो YouTube पे connected हैं, you can also drop your feedback in the chat box. और आए हो तो आप like करके ही जाओ, ऐसे कंजूसी मत करो, right? And if any of the queries which were there, right, which are unaddressed, you can put it over a comment section. YouTube में जब ये वीडियो स्टॉप हो जाएगा, you'll be getting option for a comment. You can just put it out. I'll try to answer it definitely. Anmol will be also monitoring it. तो अगर कोई query रह गया होगा, right, definitely you can put it out. And really thanks to all of you for joining in for this session. And I wish all the very best to you guys for your interviews which are there in upcoming days, right? And really thanks once again to Anmol for joining in for this session. Although डेफिनेटली ये सेशन पहले करने का हम कोशिश कर रहे थे, राइट? बट लकीली we got a opportunity to have this session out, and I think this session will be one of the hit session and again in a YouTube. And thanks once again, Anmol, for joining in for the session.
Thank you so much for calling me, Shivam. And I think great questions and very interactive. I'm really happy that people are thinking and asking the relevant stuff, because it's better to do it now than after you couldn't crack it. So
Right.
I think like kudos to the entire audience. I think great audience.
Yes. So great. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Enjoy your Sunday, right? And tension mat lo, right? I hope that सबके फटाफट selection हो जाए और सब मुझे पार्टी दे, right? अनमोल को भी पार्टी दे, right? So definitely there we are there with you. Upcoming days में we are planning more sessions on this, right? अलग-अलग domains के we have we'll try to bring different sessions out for multiple domains, right? You can just also let us know if you want any of the session, right? And we'll stay in touch.